A few days ago, a viewer left a comment on a video I published last year about Tidal's fan-centered royalties, where he stated that fan-centered royalties had effectively disappeared from all of Tidal's media and that Tidal support had informed him about the direct artist payout program and completely avoided mention of fan-centered royalties. Of course, I had to investigate. I searched Tidal's website and found nothing. I did an internet search, which returned a link to the support page on Tidal's site about fan-centered royalties. However, when I clicked on it, I was routed to the main support page instead, i.e., it no longer existed. At this point, I decided to reach out to their support centers to see if I could get some answers. Now, the first response matched exactly what the user had stated. A mention of direct artist payouts, but not one mention of fan-centered royalties. So I pushed back, including some screenshots from Tidal's Twitter feed and such that explicitly mention fan-centered royalties. And this is the response I got. Hi again, thank you for clarifying your question. We're sorry for the misunderstanding. We left the concept of fan-centered royalties and this became our direct artist payouts. Direct artist payouts are an innovative way for fans to more directly support their top streamed artists with Hi-Fi Plus every month. So we can determine that the fan-centered royalties are now the same as the direct artist payouts. The direct-to-artist payments will be allocated towards recording artists of sound recordings. In the future, our hope is to launch a similar program for songwriters in the future. Bit redundant there. So now at the end of the month, up to 10% of your subscription will go directly to your most listened artist. So there you have it. Tidal has officially dropped fan-centered royalties, less than 1 year after announcing it to the world. Furthermore, as you can read there, they are now claiming that direct artist payouts are the new thing that replace fan-centered royalties. However, at the time that they announced fan-centered royalties, they had already been working on the direct artist payouts. And if you look at what was included in the Hi-Fi Plus plan last year, you can see direct artist payouts and fan-centered royalties coexisting. So they were two separate programs, and they're now trying to spin it like, hey, direct artist payouts is better, and that's why we dropped fan-centered royalties. At least that's my take on it. Now, in my previous video, where I criticized Tidal for how they had chosen to implement fan-centered royalties, I stated that I hoped I would be wrong about it being a gimmick, and that I hoped subscribers would be willing to pay extra, knowing that they would be paying for a fairer royalty allocation system for their favorite artists. And it is nice to know that at least one subscriber felt that way. It's only a shame that they have since been let down by the scrapping of fan-centered royalties. How about you? Did you sign up for Tidal's Hi-Fi Plus tier to support fair artist payouts? Let me know in the comments down below. Or beside, I guess they appear, depending on your advice. So, why did Tidal drop fan-centered royalties? Obviously, I don't have the answer, but I do have a couple of theories why. Officially, only one that really makes sense, but let's explore them. Theory 1, setting up a system to track different royalty payout systems is too expensive and complex to set up. Now, this is by far the weakest, and I can pretty much guarantee this is not the reason why. For sure, setting up a system where this user with this plan is contributing to this pool and that artist, or that user contributes to that pool, wouldn't be necessarily the easiest thing to put into place. However, it is entirely possible to do so, and once it is set up, other than regular maintenance, it should run itself. Payment platforms are already set up to allow for a variety of variables that can affect the price of a product. So with the expertise brought in by Square buying Tidal, this should be a relative cakewalk. Furthermore, SoundCloud has been operating two separate royalty payout models for over a year now, and early this year inked a deal with Warner Music to start paying Warner artists fan-powered royalties. SoundCloud has thus effectively proven that it is possible to run a standard market-centric payment system alongside a user-centric payment system without issue. Theory 2. Tidal was unable to secure licensing agreements from the Big Four to allow fan-centered royalties on the Hi-Fi Plus tier. Now, this one is more plausible, but still unlikely, and here's why. First, little background. To offer all the music that they offer, Tidal needs to have license agreements with all the companies that manage the rights for those songs. And of course, if there's a breach of an agreement or an agreement expires without a new one to replace it, the catalogs associated with that agreement disappear from the streaming service. Now, one aspect of licensing agreements is likely to be how royalties are calculated and paid out. Currently, the default system is a market approach where all royalty contributions are pooled, and then that total sum is split out among all the streams. So effectively, listeners contribute royalties to artists they may not listen to or even like. Of course, any deviation from this may cause friction with the rights holders. However, I don't think Tidal would have made the announcement about fan-centered royalties without having set out at least tentative agreements for this change with the concerned parties, as not having something like that in place could have had a serious backlash. Furthermore, given that Warner Music recently inked a deal with SoundCloud for the payout of royalties via a user-centric payment system, it seems unlikely that the other music groups would have been so strongly against it, especially given the relatively small sample size, which would have actually been a great way to get some real-world data on just how user-centric payment models would impact the distribution of streaming revenue. Thus, I don't think licensing agreements were primarily the issue. Rather, I think they might tie into my final theory. Theory 3. They need the royalty contribution from the Hi-Fi Plus plan to subsidize the free plan. This is the theory that I think is most likely. For a bit of background, basically a percentage, I think it's around 63% of all incoming revenue that digital streaming platforms collect get paid directly out as royalties, while the remaining 30-some-odd% is retained by the DSP to manage their expenses and hopefully turn a bit of profit. Now, Tidal has released a free tier, currently only available in the US, and this free tier's unique selling proposition is that it will not be ad-supported. Now here's the thing, Tidal can't just freely give away access to intellectual property that they don't own the rights to. That would be theft. Therefore, the streams on the free plan earn royalties that need to be paid out somehow. Now, since Hi-Fi Plus subscriptions with the fan-centered royalties would have had that 63% royalty portion paid out only to those artists that those subscription holders listen to, that meant around $12 every month per user would be missing from the global pool that needs to pay out the free tier. For clarification, the standard Hi-Fi plan does not offer fan-centered royalties. Royalty portions are aggregated and split among all tracks streamed on that plan. And for obvious reasons, the free plan could not exist on fan-centered royalties as the users pay nothing for the plan, hence the free in the plan's title. In the plan's title. This means that streams through the free plan would go into the aggregate pool that was being funded by the standard Hi-Fi plan. Thus, the per-stream royalty payouts would be absolutely peanuts without the contribution of the Hi-Fi Plus plan. This would then have two consequences. One, it would significantly lower Tidal's per-stream payout. Currently, Tidal holds the status of having one of the highest average per-stream payouts, and is something that is cited by many a supporter of Tidal, and something that Tidal uses in promoting their service as one that cares about artists and music. Thus, having this trend downward would be very harmful to their image. 2. This major reduction in the payout rates for the aggregate pool would likely not make the majors happy. Now, it's just a theory, but lovers of music often have more diverse taste, including a wide swath of independent artists. They're not the demographic who's likely to register with a free plan. They are more likely to pay more for the Hi-Fi Plus plan, knowing that their artists would be compensated more fairly. And of course, if their favorite artists that they listen to include a healthy dose of independent artists, that would divert revenue away from the majors. Again, this is just speculation here, but as this could lead to a reduced royalty payout to major labels, it could have led them to push back against fan-centered royalties, effectively forcing Tidal to scrap fan-centered royalties in order to continue to offer a competitive music catalog on their platform. Now, it's unlikely that we will ever know the real reasons behind why Tidal has scrapped fan-centered royalties. Unfortunately, I think that silently scrapping what was supposed to be a significant draw for their Hi-Fi Plus plan is a slap in the face to the customers who genuinely purchase the subscription, hoping to better support their favorite artists. Sure, they're still offering direct artist payouts, but having looked into it, I'm not sure it is all it's cracked up to be. For sure, it has promise, but its current iteration, Stay tuned for a deep dive into direct artist payouts, coming soon to a YouTube channel near you. This one, that's not clear. On that note, if you are an artist who has directly benefited from a direct artist payout, I would love to chat with you. So please reach out to me at happilyevermusic@gmail.com. Of course, I am happy to oblige any requests for anonymity. Still to come in future videos, the aforementioned direct artist payout deep dive, calling out Deezer, all talk but no walk, as well as videos on music production and chats and interviews with people working in various positions in the music industry. So how do you feel about Tidal silently dropping fan-centered royalties? And are you planning to downgrade your plan or switch services as a result? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, cheers.